Shall we start now, Prof. Wisnu?
Yes, okay. It's already 1 o'clock in Indonesia.
Okay. Hope it's... Can you see my screen? Okay. Hello everyone, I'm Kurnianingsih. I will serve as a moderator for today's sessions on Academic Reputations Enhancement Grant. Thank you for joining us today. Today's topics on education and ethics in digital society. I will introduce our speakers today. Our speakers today is Emeritus Professor Lance Chunche Fung. I usually call him Professor Lance Fung. Okay. I will read. I will read his education background. In 1976, he obtained advanced diploma in marine electronics from Brunel Technical College, Bristol, United Kingdom. In 1981, he obtained a bachelor degree with first class honors in maritime technology, University of Wales, Institute of Science and Technology, Cardiff, UK. In 1982, he obtained Master of Engineering degree in System Test Technology from University of Wales, Institute of Science and Technology, Cardiff, UK. In 1994, he obtained PhD degree at the School of Electrical and Electronic Engineering, University of Western Australia. In 1982 until 1988, he was teaching at the Department of Electronics and Communications Engineering at Singapore Polytechnic. In 1989 until 2003, he was teaching at the School of Electrical and Computer Engineering, Curtin University of Technology. Since 2003 until recently, he joined Murdoch University, and now he was appointed as Emeritus Professor since 2015. You can see, you can visit his homepage here. And also, if you want to interact with him, you can drop email to him in this email address. He obtained many awards. Okay, in 2000, he received IEEE Third Millennium Medal. In 2007, he received a FISI Award in Excellence in Research Supervisions. In 2009, he received Perth Convention Bureau Professional Development Award. In 2015, he received IEEE Region 10 Outstanding Volunteer Award. In 2017, he received honorary PhD degree in Information Technology by Walai University, Thailand, in recognition of the contributions toward the development and advancement of research and postgraduate programs. And his activities in IEEE, he served in many positions in the Executive Committee of Technical Society chapters at Western Australia sections, Australia Council, and Region 10 EXCOM. He is also a member of Board of Governors in the IEEE Systems Man and Cybernetics Society 2010 until 2015, and served as chair of the IEEE New Initiative Committee. He also served as a Conference Quality Committee, IEEE Technical Program Integrity Committee, and currently as a IEEE Region 10 Chair of Educational Activities Committee. We are honored to have the support and vote of confidence from IEEE members in the Asia Pacific region. He is now Region 10 Director-elect for next year, He will be Region 10 Director-elect for 2020, 2021-2022. It means that he will be the director for 2023-2024, representing the regions on the IEEE Board of Directors. Okay. Welcome to all participants online via Zoom and YouTube. So you may interact with the speakers. So you can write questions or comments through Q&A in this Zoom meeting. Okay, thank you very much. Now I would like to invite Professor Lens. Professor Lens, now time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Leah. And now I'm going to start to share my screen. Okay, I believe you can see it now.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. So once again, thank you very much for the invitation. It's truly my honor and my pleasure being with you as part of the visiting professorship program. If you don't mind, I'm going to take off the video so that you can concentrate on the screen. As a matter of fact, well, I'm not really photogenic to be on the video. So I'd rather that you take a look at the screen. Well, I come to you today speaking on this topic on education and ethics in the digital society. Well, I do see myself that it's not so much I come here as a lecturer or the expert in this one, but I just would like to share my experience in these topics, because I do feel that it is very important, well, for us to play our role, well, as the citizen of the world, and also we need to fulfill, well, our calling in life in terms of our performance in a profession. So I'm going to share a little bit, well, part of my experience as well, and since you heard Nia has very kindly introduced to you from part of my association of IEEE, I'm going to use the information from IEEE extensively, because I don't really see that within this 1 hour and a half of interaction with you, we'll be able to educate you, well, to understand every topics, well, in these two disciplines we're talking about in education and ethics, etc. But I always, well, see that, well, nowadays, since COVID-19, early this year, lockdown, a lot of webinars, a lot of virtual conferences going on. And I can see that, well, people are really active in participating and also running this event. And also it's good to see that, well, a lot of attendance as well. But ultimately, at the end of the day, well, I believe it's just like that, well, you can listen to, well, the songs, well, of the best singer in the world, but that may not really make you to be the best singer. And similarly, well, you can read a lot of books, well, you can watch a lot of movies by Bruce Lee, but it does not turn into Bruce Lee. Ultimately, every one of us need to practice, well, need to put into our hard work. And that's exactly what education is all about. And ethics need to be principled. And in particular, in this day and age of the digital society, well, there are a lot of things that can really relate to everyone's and relate to one another as well. Okay, so I'm going to talk about this as I go along. Okay, once again, well, I need to give my acknowledgement and thank you so much, well, and appreciation to Professor Wisnu, well, for the opportunity to be involved with the program and also speaking with you as well. And he, as the chair of the IEEE Indonesia section, but I can see that under his leadership, there's so much excellent activities and the performance and the increase of the membership in Indonesia, well, it's been leaps and bounds. And then I believe that, well, truly he has fulfilled the mission and vision of IEEE, the bringing the benefits to the community. And also I thank you very much for Nia. Well, I get to know Nia, I think, since 2018, well, on the Region 10 XCOM, and her performance and her activities is truly recognized and appreciated by all, well, within the committee and also within the members as well. And also being the vice chair of IEEE Indonesia section. And I heard that, and I understand that she is also involved with the Region 10 in the coming years and also in the Indonesia section. And I believe that, well, she still have a lot of potential and a lot of opportunity for her to contribute as well. So when I was approached for this talk today, I asked, well, who will be the expected audience? And this is the email I received saying that the audiences for this event are generally master and a doctoral degree student of computer science from the University of Indonesia and open for public. So in other words, we are looking at most of you are the postgraduate or research students. But more importantly, I see that, well, not only just for today, for this hour, but really looking into your future. Well, I believe that, well, most of you in time to come, you become the future academics. Well, you are the researchers. Well, you are the one that, well, we have a part to play. And I also hope that you'll be able to make an impact, not only to your own career, but also to the people around you as well. And also, there's some people in the public, and I'm really thankful, that your interest and coming along to this one as well. And I hope that, for the coming hour or so, it will be useful for you. As far as my agenda for today is concerned, I start off with a little bit of getting to know me. I don't go on this one for too long. Well, because Nia has already kindly talked about some of my background, so I'm going to skip that part quite quickly. But I would like to talk a little bit about where am I, because I'm quite close to where you are, Indonesia. We're the closest neighbor. And then I started looking in the digital society. Well, I'm going to use some materials I find from the internet. I find one of the YouTube video as well, and we take a look at one of the typical example of a digital society. Then maybe you can aspire to see that Indonesia is going to be improved and also advanced to be a digital society. Although right now it is, I can see that the use of the ICT, information communication technology is also quite widespread in your country. But there are also a lot of potential in time to come for the benefit for your community and for your population. Then I take a look at the education. Education by itself is really quite a broad term. It's quite a broad spectrum from all the ways from the pre-primary, going to the primary school level, secondary school, tertiary education, university, postgraduate study, etc., etc. But I would like to concentrate a little bit, sharing one article, what I have located on the internet about the roles of higher education. Why I use higher education? Because I look at you, most of you in the audience, if you're a master and a PhD student, so you're part of the higher education. And then also you're quite close to the time that you're going to the society, you're going to work, you're going to launch your career. Well, the world is going to be your oyster. So I want you to see that how important it is for higher education relate to the digital society. So I'm going to share one of the articles I have located. Then we take a look at ethics. Well, again, this one is a very, very big topic. Although that we don't hear too much of it, a lot of time when we look into a lot of the webinars, we see that a lot of them are interested in technology, looking into how to study, how to write a paper. But more importantly, we need to find out the foundation reason why we exist what we are, so that we can live harmoniously in a human society. And ethics is a very fundamental principle, not only in the digital society, but really within the homes, within your relationship between the parents, between the husband and wife. So ethics is related to characters, related to moral. So we're going to touch on that one. Now, I'm not coming to you as a moral police. I'm not telling you to do this, do that, do that. No, I'm not saying that at all. But I just want to see that in general, why this one is important. And then we'll play along with one simple game, and then take a look. That will highlight the illustration. Again, I have been using some materials from the internet. And then from that point onwards, I'm going to share with you the resources, the products, and the services from IEEE, on this related topic, on the education and ethics. But before I finish, I look into IEEE, some of the latest development in the ethics for autonomous intelligence system. But this one is going to be very interesting, because one of the characteristics of the digital society in time to come is really, we can see robots, we can see artificial intelligence, we can see the driverless vehicle is going to populate it around the world. But the question comes in, do we expect these machines to have the ethical principle or standards? If yes, then how do we expect them to do? So this is where IEEE, I believe that we have the world-leading initiative, looking into the ethics in action. Although it is not only from professional organizations, from IEEE, even the government have to do that as well. And then I'll finish off by looking at a website from Australian government as regard to the ethics on the artificial intelligence or intelligence system, etc. So I hope my timing is quite okay, within an hour or so, but I understand I have 1.5 hours in total. So if I have go over time, so please forgive me in advance, all right? Okay, let's start off by looking at myself, getting to know me. So as you can see, my affiliation is Murdoch University. Well, some of you may be aware of Murdoch University. Well, we are one of the 39 public universities in Australia. We're located on the West Coast. We are a close neighbor. We only got 1 hour time difference between Indonesia and Australia. As a matter of fact, you may be aware that also a lot of Australians love to have a holiday in Bali. Some of them, they retire there, they have a holiday home, etc., etc. But I would say that we are so close together, we should really have work together with a lot of the collaboration and opportunities. And in Murdoch University, at one time we have a world-leading Asian Research Center, ARC, and we have a lot of work, and we even taught courses in Indonesia as well. And we even have student activities, having orchestra playing the Indonesian music. So if you haven't, in the Perth, we are on the West Coast, and the state of Western Australia have a population around 2.4 million. So we have, in the metropolitan area, around 2 million. Well, Murdoch University is one of the 4 public universities. Well, in Perth, we have one more private university, which is the Notre Dame University. And what I really like the best is, if you take a look at the foreshore, this is what you see looking at the CBD area across the Swan River. You may notice that, on the lower right-hand corner, so you see black swan. Now, why I use this one as something I would like to talk about, because there's something called the black swan theory. You may or may not aware of this one. So because of this black swan, as far as Western Australia concerned, we even value it so much. We even have it on our state flags. If you take a look at our state of WA flag, we even have the black swan in there. But black swan is really significant, in the scientific world, in the society, because, this black swans, theory is really referring to, the cases that you have the event that comes as a surprise. It has a major effect, and also maybe appropriately rationalized after the fact of the benefit of hindsight. So you're only looking back, so, that was really a black swan, effect. And that's what happened, this year. And all of us, have the whole world is really under the influence of the COVID-19 virus. And really, we face lockdown, and I believe, Indonesia, you're not much better. I hope that the number of cases have been reducing. We are quite fortunate in Australia because being an isolated continent, so we are really quite well under control. But nevertheless, we expected to open the border shortly, and then we are really holding our breath that I'm hoping that the number is not going to surge. But also what I'm trying to say is, black swan did exist, they do exist, because years ago, people from Europe, when they heard about this black swan, they laughed because, how can it be? Swan must be white color. But no, it's true. It could be a black swan as well. And the things can be unexpectedly. So to a certain extent, it may relate to the topic of education and ethics, because in the era of the digital society, and maybe you can really expect some unexpected events could happen as well. It could be some new disruptive technology, or maybe from the ethical point of view, somebody make some decision that really have a lot of long-lasting implications and effect. So getting to know me, most of the thing you heard from Nia earlier on, actually you can find from the university website, which is located at Murdoch University. Just simply search profile and lens Fung. So I'm not going to repeat that part. And that one to give you, some of my background, which you have heard about, in terms of my education and my involvement in the IEEE. But I always like to share these few photos. Some of you heard my talk before that you have seen before. At the beginning, part of my technical training, I was a radio officer, and I worked on a ship, and I used Morse code. And then I talk about, from 72 to, I graduated 74. And then, that was my first ship on the upper right-hand side. And my second ship, was 1976. And the highlight, the significant at that time is, there was the first time I encountered a GPS navigation system. Because years ago, on the ship, once you're in the open sea, that you really relied, on some very primitive, equipment to look at the stars, look at the suns, then you try to determine your location. Later on, we do have the radio, fixing equipment, whereby we can make you some radio wave, then determine your position. Of course, if you are close by to the shore, then you can use a radar and try to get some landmark. But once you're in the middle of the ocean, you're in the middle of the Pacific or Atlantic, Indian Ocean, that you won't get anything at all. And then subsequently, we have the satellite system come in, and now looking back over 40 years ago now. And at the time, it was very slow. You only have a satellite pass once every few years, a few hours. But now, we take it for granted. The satellite is going to be geosynchronous. You can get it, anytime. So a lot of the old technology is no longer, needed. But having said that, it's quite interesting that, even in my past life as a radio officer, somebody was saying that, okay, you rely so much, on the electronics and on the computer, but what happens if those machines are being log off, well, for whatever reason. Okay, it could be a natural disaster, or maybe some man-made attack. And then really, well, what they talk about is, well, maybe you come to the, well, worst scenario, you cannot rely on any of those radio communication anymore. Maybe the only communication over distance, well, we'll be using Morse code, using light. Okay, so it's very interesting to think about that. So that's why they say that in the army, actually, they still train people using the Morse code so that they can communicate, well, in the worst scenario. But anyway, that's another, well, story. So I'm not going to expand any further. So, but nevertheless, well, I'm not going to go through all the list of description of my past academic career, and also in terms of the IEEE activities. Again, you have heard kindly that Nia has mentioned about that. But I would like to once again take this opportunity to thank you for the support I received from the Indonesia section, from the votes I received from the members in Indonesia. And I can give you my commitment that I'm going to work for the region to represent, well, the region in the board of directors during my terms in time to come. Okay, now come to digital society. So let's start off by looking into some of the description of what is this digital society all about. I got it from one of the articles. And well, this one is say that the notion of the digital society reflects the results of the modern society in adopting and integrating information and communication technology, which is ICT, at home, work, education, and recreation. Now, when you look around, well, I believe that you agree with me that more or less we have every day just working online. Well, my iPhone tells me, well, every week tell me, oh, okay, Lance, well, your screen time is how many hours? It has been going up compared to last week. It will be coming down how many percent? Well, how many hours? It's a good idea to remind me, am I really spending too much time on the phone, well, on the computer or not? But already we rely everything on it now. Well, we rely on the communications, we rely, well, as a source of information for our news, and then, well, our training and our education, and also, well, our recreation. We're watching the movie, TV, or playing games, etc. So the digital innovations are reshaping our society, economy, and industries with a scale and speed like never before. So compared to the previous era, so whatever change of the technology that take, well, many years to come, well, they come to all over the world. But really, in this last few years, well, in terms of the computer technology, from the communication technology, internet technology, you can see that these very quickly, well, new devices are being adopted all over the world, and also is being, well, used, and also new applications have been developed very quickly as well. Mobile and the cloud technologies, big data, and the Internet of Things. Well, those are the things that if you are in the areas of study in the ICT, well, you hear this every day. But they offer, well, unimaginable opportunities, driving growth, improvement of citizen life and efficiency, well, to many areas, including health services, transportation, energy, agriculture, manufacturing, retail, and public administration. So you can see that it really covers every part of our life. Well, and also we may not be able to tell are some of those effects good or bad. Say, for example, like online shopping, it seems so good. On the other hand, well, it really spell a lot of difficulties. Well, for those for the retail shops, for the malls, we can see a lot of them, they're closing down. And then well, the entertainment industry, well, it's traditional media, so like the newspaper, like the television, well, the people are watching them, spending time and spending money on them have reduced dramatically, so causing them losing money, or maybe even the bank go bankrupt, etc. So it's really interesting to see how, well, these technologies, well, and change in the digital society are going to affect every part of our life. So if I take a look from the academic point of view, so again, I use another article. Well, this is the one from the Times Higher Education. And then, well, it relates to some of the work, well, some people I know over in City University in Hong Kong. So this particular article talk about, well, how City University leading some of these projects. And as a matter of fact, some of the leaders are people I know as well over there. So it says digital innovations are reshaping our society, economy, culture, and lifestyle. The ability to impact and potentially advance all aspects of our society cannot be overstated, resulting in the need for vigorous, well, interdisciplinary research from the application of the digital innovation to benefit our daily life, to a thorough understanding of the relationship between digital advancements and society. So in other words, when all of you who are involved with your currently with your study, all the way from undergraduate, postgraduate, research, etc., well, it is really important for you to appreciate, well, what are the possibility and also the potential there, but also to be fully aware, could be, well, what are the potential pitfalls as well. So if you take a look at some of these examples of the projects, then you can give you some ideas about what are the possible applications. Say, for example, like Professor Hong Yang, well, I worked with him in the Attribute SMC Society for a few years back, and also quite a number of the people over in City University. As a matter of fact, I believe the next president of the society is going to be Professor Sam Kong, and also, again, is a good friend of mine. So Professor Hong Yang, well, he himself is a leading researcher in the areas of mathematical modeling and computer algorithms for the computer models called the tensor computing. And then the main application is on the multi-dimensional data analysis, image and biomedical data analysis. Then the use of example, one of the projects is about medical data to look into the causes of drug resistance in lung cancer patients with the aim of personalizing treatment. So you can see that in digital society, well, your healthcare is going to be personalized. Well, in here, they're talking about medical data. As a matter of fact, a lot of also work are going into the DNA or genetic analysis, or maybe even go into some kind of personalized medical treatment, or even genetic engineering as well. Another researcher from the computer science were leading a collaborative research project to develop new security and privacy enhancing technology for cloud storage to enable users to search encrypted data, verify results from data analytics, and safely access cloud services. Obviously, nowadays, the cloud is again has formed an integral part, or maybe essential part on our digital society. I believe a lot of you may make use of the services of putting your photos, your files on the cloud rather than on your own machine. Well, partly because you have a limitation on your own machine. And also, if you want to use it across different devices, you're very inconvenient every time you need to transfer the files or send it through. But rather putting in the centralized area like the cloud, then whereby you can access it from any part of the world as long as you connect to the internet and also with any other devices. So this is the obvious advantage. And also a lot of the other application as well. So, but the challenge is always the security. Well, security is a major concern and issue in the digital society. And some others, blockchain, this is a little bit related to that. So they're using the blockchain technology to look at applications beyond the banking and the finance services, from encrypted data, encrypted keyword search, information security in the food supply chain system. And also importantly, another one, not looking from the entire technical point of view, but rather looking at the relationship between human being and then the use of the mobile phone. And this particular research work is exploring how people virtual experience using media technologies affect their attitudes, thoughts, and behavior, such as the nomophobia, the anxiety of being without a mobile phone. I'm not too sure, have you experienced this or not? Well, touch wood, so far I haven't lost any mobile phone, but that was once. I left it in the public toilet. I went inside there, and then I finished my business, ran out, and I left it. And I swear I can tell you, when I realized I lost my mobile phone, I have a cold sweat. It was really panic, seriously, because I'm traveling. It was in the airport, and but luckily I was in the lounge. Well, because of the lounge, there are limited people using that, so straight away I gone back inside there. And although someone had occupied the cubicle, but then again, he cannot say no because I just came out. But nevertheless, I was quite lucky to get it back. But I believe that you and I can share the panic. If we found out suddenly we cannot locate our mobile phone because we have so much information, we rely so much on it. So this is an example how it has been studied in this research project. Now I'm going to share with you this video, and I hope that this is going to play okay. I need to see how it works on sharing the screen. Well, you may or may not know that Estonia, in one of the Baltic states, recognized as one of the most advanced digital societies. And I believe this video, I got it from YouTube, aired sometime early last year. It's around 6 minutes or so. And I think it gives us a good illustration of what can we expect from a digital society, and how Estonia have made use of the technology to transform the country. So let's take a look at how it works. And I'm not too sure how can just make sure the screen sharing is okay. Let me know that does it play okay on the screen or not? Okay.
We are in Tallinn, the capital of Estonia.
Can you hear it now?
Yes, we hear.
It's on the screen. It's on the screen.
1.3 million.
Yeah, but the screen
It's not okay. I need to stop.
Yeah,
I need to stop sharing and then go into another screen. Okay.
yes.
So let me go into another screen before
Please.
I come back. Okay. I think this is the one.
World.
Yes,
Okay.
it's good.
From e-residency to online voting to national ID cards, we're here to see how Estonia can be a blueprint for other countries looking to go digital. For our first stop, we went straight to the top with a visit to Estonia's president, Kersti Kaljulaid. If you could describe Estonia's digital society to someone who's maybe never heard of it before, what would you say?
You can apply for passport, you can apply for driver's license, you can sell your car and buy a car online, register it online. So most of the services in Estonia, when it concerns public service, is digital. We have a generation who has grown up knowing that you communicate digitally.
Estonians realized because they embraced the
Is it playing okay?
technology, business, and everything is going to move instead of just having an offline ID
Really
card.
the video, yes, but why not moving?
It's nothing actually. Well, hang on a
So
second.
we are inside the
So
showroom
it
of
seems to me that
Estonia, which showcases a lot of the country's digital solutions. We're going to take a look at the electronic ID and digital signatures. Every
okay. So
Estonian is
just let
issued a
me
digital
stop
ID,
it. Then let
physical
me try again to the share screen. I think the share screen is not sharing properly. So just let me try again on this one. Okay, you can see the screen.
Yes.
Okay, now I play it now.
ID cards are paired with digital
yes.
signatures that citizens use to pay taxes, vote, do
Is all
online
right?
banking, and
Yes.
access healthcare records. For a small country, the impact of the digital signatures has been big, saving the government an estimated 2% of GDP per year in salaries and expenses. Estonia says 99% of its public services are available online 24/7. It takes under 5 minutes to fill out taxes online, around 1/3 of citizens vote online, and 99% of prescriptions are issued electronically. Health records can be shared among doctors using a single electronic file that the owner can see at any point in time too.
So here you can see a list of doctors that I have been in treatment with. Everything that regards your health record, your health, this is here.
So another big feature of Estonia's digital society is the e-residency program. This basically allows you to start a company here in Estonia, even if you're not a resident. E-residents can benefit from the European Union's single market without actually living in the EU. Estonia was the first country in the world to offer e-residency, and so far more than 50,000 people have applied for the program since it launched in 2014. So we are on our way to meet with Taavi Kotka. Taavi is a well-known presence in Estonia as the country's first Chief Information Officer.
We just started to think about it, like how we can increase the amount of people who connect with there. We had to approach this question different, and we took the approach that, okay, why not we connect them digitally?
So how did Estonia become so high-tech? It all started in 1991 when the country gained independence from the Soviet Union. The government embarked on a series of fast-track reforms to modernize the economy, and it saw investments in technology as a key way to boost economic growth. By 2000, all schools were equipped with computers, and today children as young as 7 years old learn how to code. The government also offered free computer training to 10% of the adult population. These efforts helped raise the percentage of Estonians who use the internet from 29% in the year 2000 to an impressive 91% in 2016. Skype was one of Estonia's early tech success stories. The video chatting company, which was bought by Microsoft, was founded here in 2003. Estonia claims it's home to more tech unicorns, which are private companies valued at more than $1 billion per capita than any other small country in the world. Its recent unicorns include payments company TransferWise and Uber competitor Taxify. Other companies focusing on everything from blockchain to organic food are now vying to be the next Estonian unicorn.
I think the environment that is set up right now is very friendly, and I hope we keep it this way.
So the road to a digital society here in Estonia hasn't been without bumps along the way. In 2007, the country suffered a massive cyber attack, which forced the government to take steps toward protecting online security. Estonia helped launch a branch of NATO devoted to fighting similar attacks. The government created a data embassy in Luxembourg where it stores copies of all of its data. And schools teach cyber hygiene starting in elementary school. The efforts haven't stopped cyber attacks altogether, but today many people here are convinced their data is safer online than on pen and paper.
You actually see who has access to data, what data was collected, why, how it was used. And if you have an ability to control that, you can cover it, you can delete it, etc. It actually gives you more privacy.
One thing we learned about Estonia's digital society, it's not enough just to keep up with technology. As its population ages, Estonia is trying to lure in high-skilled workers like digital nomads, remote workers who use technology to do their jobs anywhere around the world. We're heading in to meet Carolee Hendricks. She's the CEO of a company called Jatmiko. She's working with Kilbansi from the Estonian Interior Ministry to develop what would be the world's first digital nomad visa. It's one example of a public-private partnership at work.
It really reflects on what our whole immigration policy is about. We want to attract talented people, entrepreneurs that are beneficial to our society, to our economy.
Do you see it as important to be attracting skilled workers?
The loudspeaker of the world, which means in the United States right now, or Brexit, it kind of seems that loud is closing down, but there's a lot of countries who are actually thinking about how to make it easier, how to attract people. Where people will move will very much define the failure or success of economy, right?
The digital nomad visa and e-residency are encouraging startups and entrepreneurs here in Estonia. This is the Tenopol complex. It's home to more than 200 tech companies. Bruce founded a health tech company whose app helps detect early stages of skin cancer.
The small environment, the digital environment, people are very open for new innovations. As a market size, it's not that big, so you really have to think big at the very first step and think of your growth plans into other countries and other continents even.
Replicating Estonia's digital success in bigger, more diverse countries will be easier said than done. After all, the entire population here is roughly equivalent to that of Dallas. But in a world that's only getting more digital, there are a lot of lessons we can learn from this glimpse into the future. Hey guys, Elizabeth here, coming to you from Estonia.
Okay, so I'm going to put back to my screen. So, are you able to see the screen go back to this PowerPoint slide now?
Yes, yes.
All right, let's come back to this one now. So I hope sorry about the hiccup earlier on, but you can really search this particular clip on the YouTube. And I find it's really interesting that the interview and the introduction of the characteristic and the features of the digital society. And you can see that this is really a very successful case that whereby you can see that how the country is being transformed. And if you heard about some of the data talking about how they start looking at it from 1991 and then go in terms of the population that have been using the internet from 10% go to 91%. And also have been teaching the kids from 8 years old on to do the coding and all those different aspects. And more importantly, you see the successful startup like Skype, and also talking about the last example, using the diagnosis for the skin cancer. So maybe we can sum up this characteristic or features of a digital society. Of course, first of all, it must be the technology that we have heard so much. You talk about the big data, you talk about AI, talking about communication technology, internet technology, IoT, computer technology, mobile devices, wearable devices, etc., etc. And of course, we take a look. Another aspect is the ability whereby you can apply it, and also the potential. You can identify the way you can use to benefit the operations. You heard about the government operations. Well, in Estonia, they use it for the visa. You're looking for the tax. Then you're looking at e-residents. You're looking at the digital nomads. Whereby you can mobilize your workforce from any part of the world. As a matter of fact, it's quite appropriate. Really looking now for the past months of the lockdown, and then really, no matter we like it or not, we're forced to face this situation. that university, you have to teach online. People have to work from home. So in that case, really, we have already now, well, no matter we like it or not, we have to accept and also we have to adopt, well, to this so-called new normal. And even though that the vaccine is going to be on the horizon, and actually even in UK is going to start launch out the vaccine for the citizen. Even in Australia, in Western Australia, we're expecting the vaccine is going to be launched in March, and even also list down the priority for people who will get the jab first. So you can see that things are going to change rapidly. Maybe it's another black swan theory. So, for the digital society, you can very disruptive technology then to change, the operations. You heard about how the healthcare is going to be enhanced and also revolutionized. Like in the video, you saw the guy that he has a record of all the doctors he has seen. As a matter of fact, even in Australia, the same thing. A lot of Western world, maybe including Indonesia, the healthcare cost is really a very big burden for the government, and also very important as well. I mean, the health of your population, of course, is very important for the citizen. They're using the new technology to optimize it, to make it more productive, make it more efficient. Obviously, it's very important. Communication, of course, is another area. So we have heard about, you yourself may already experience different eras of the mobile phone system, from 2G, 3G, 4G, and now we're going to 5G. And also we're talking about 6G and also the satellite system coming in because of the Skylink project from Elon Musk, and everybody anticipates to see that. And then you can see all the different services and products available as well. Now come to the point of education. So you can anticipate, the change of the education system, not only just in the curriculum and the content, what we're supposed to teach, and also I do expect, in terms of the assessment, it has to be changed as well. You will go all the way from the primary school, from the school level, all the way up to university. And also it does not stop at the university as level. As a matter of fact, we do anticipate education need to be lifelong. And this is something I'm going to talk about as far as IEEE is concerned, is another focus of what we are putting into. Then you also hear, again, in the video, talking about they themselves in Estonia also subjected to a massive attack as well. So the privacy and the security matters is very important. And also from the organization point of view, how do you protect the data? It could be something that you need to be liable to. Well, in particular, in Europe, they have started the General Data Protection Regulation. You could incur, very massive fine. And even I can tell you, even IEEE, there are some issues because of some of the leaking of the data. You have to be traced the responsibility and what measure, you have to do to address that. So in that case, we can take a look. The issue is, what do you expect, coming out of the roles, of higher education? This is something I have mentioned early on at the beginning. And I'm going to, take a look at this particular article. Then in terms of the, just let me close something, okay? Well, the question is, what is the roles of the higher educations in the digital society? I'm sorry that because right now I have something to do on my screen. It's blocking my view. Okay, that's all right now. Okay, coming back to the question. Well, what is the role of the higher education in digital society? So the first one is promotes the inclusion. So the emerging edtech trends, referring to the education technology and approaches from digital curriculums to interactive quizzes to immersive learning applications and personalized learning development allow learners to absorb relevant information in ways that they are tailored to their individual needs while encouraging communal classroom engagement that is driven by technology. So one of the things we have been using over the years in traditional education is we take a look at one single curriculum. We try to see one size fits all. We completely disregard different students and the backgrounds, the ability, and the progress. When we try to assess them with a common set of test questions, and then we give them a grade. In a way that, now in the education for over 30 years or so, I always think that, maybe you agree with me as well, this is not fair to a certain extent because this does not truly reflect the ability of a student. well, the grade and the result the guy gets is only reflect on how well he performed in that examination, or maybe how well he can spot the answer, how much he can remember the answers. So really, to a certain extent, there must be a better way, because education should be more than just for the results on your transcript, but rather how you're going to make use of it for your future. Another one is to foster collective intelligence. So what does it mean by this? Well, now the students in the higher education settings can enhance or augment their classroom learning experience with the use of collaborative technology while continuing with their educational journeys beyond lectures with a collaborative platform and mobile access to valuable content. So this approach refers to the active blended learning. So again, this is one of the hot topic keywords they have is blended learning. So we see that learning is not just limited within the classroom, but rather, well, you should really make full use of it. So again, you take note of this one because when I talk about one of the initiatives from IEEE on lifelong learning, exactly we are approaching that. We call that it's going to be a learning journey rather than just simply one module or one course. So we can see that the environment and the facility is going to change based on the different digital resources. Well, you also have a lot of devices. Well, how you to make sense of all the informations? Well, from the individual point of view, well, your ability to analyze, well, to discuss, well, to reflect what you have learned, and the goal setting is really important and should be the objective of the education. And then from there, you can lead on to the consolidation and understanding, and then you can also lead on to the execution and the action as well. Promotes innovation and creativity. And I believe that this should be the true hallmark of the digital society. Well, with the use of the technology, you're able to come up with the creative ideas, how you can be applied to solve different problems. So this new digital age has empowered students and tutors to explore and experiment with the educational efforts to taking activities and methodologies far beyond the traditional backdrop and the textbook approach. So in other words, no longer just relying on your text, on your note taking and from the slides and from the handout, but rather you can explore for yourself, because with the access of the internet, well, you can really search for so much information. Within IEEE itself, we have to explore over 5 million documents you can look for. One of the most positive elements in the evolutions of the digital technology in the education sector is the fact that it has highlighted the realization that the computer screen is not just an informational display, but a versatile tool for the collaborations, creations, and creativity. As a matter of fact, it goes now beyond just having the computer screen for display. Well, we have also other devices, like the features like the augmented realities, like the virtual realities, and also you have the textile, and then you got the feedback. And then also you have so much new devices enable you to gather the information and also provide the feedback as well. To develop the skills and embraces the new technology. By implementing the mobile application, online course content, and web-based student support initiatives into the everyday running of the institution, it is possible not only empower the student to refine and develop new skills beyond the realm of the current curriculum, but foster a mindset of lifelong learning. Look at it is underlined and highlighted. So I'm going to share with you how IEEE is working on this. And we'll give them the ability to upscale and remain competitive in the future. This is very important. From the word competitive, on one hand, it's good that we can access to the whole world, but it also means that you can receive competition from the whole world as well. You need really to be the best as well, you are. Gone are the days that you just simply rely on a single employer and single position until your retirement day. Well, I would say that I myself comparatively fortunate in the as an older generation. Really, the number of jobs I've done is not that much. Well, my last 2 jobs in the university, each one lasts around 12 years, 14 years. Although I'm still affiliated with them, but then again nowadays I also see some people they have to move very rapidly from one job to another. On one hand, it's good. It also means that they are able to learn new skills and go into different challenges. On the other hand, also people can comment that they're short of a little bit of stability. So that, again, there's another issue. So anyway, so not only will this serve to close the global digital skills gap, but it also showcases the value of your institution concerning the student success. Well, nurture an ecology of a learning and an entrepreneur spirit. With the tools that allow students to interact, develop the skills, and sharing the ideas at any time, day or night, comes the ecology of learning. A mindset in which people will want to share and acquire knowledge on a continual basis, a stimulating environment where everybody wins. And this ecology of learning also encourages a self-sufficient mindset that equips learners to adopt the entrepreneur spirit and create themselves a wealth of new opportunities for future success. Well, I'm not sure how many of you are active user of the YouTube, or maybe you are also watching or following some of the channels as well. I can see that nowadays it suddenly becomes so easy that everyone can really share your ideas. Well, I can tell you that a lot of time the one even our day-to-day living. Well, how do I cook a new dish? Well, how do I cook a nasi lemak? How do I do a satay? I can really just go on the YouTube and find out how people are sharing the recipe. Unlike in the past, whereby I had to take out some money to buy a cookbook, or maybe I can watch a television program. But nowadays you can access anytime, and I can find out from the YouTube some video how do you fix some of the small problems within the home. So similarly, a lot of people also sharing different topics as well. I mean, you have some of those channels they're teaching people mathematics. I think in one of the Khan's channel teaching mathematics, and he is one of the most popular, and also in terms of financial return, and also pay them quite handsomely as well. So those are the things that really there's so much opportunities being opened up nowadays. Is what they call the gig economy. So in conclusion of that particular paper is referred to the influence of digital technology in higher education is entirely prosperous, as it centralized will give everyone the access to a wealth of invaluable information without bias, barriers, or restrictions. Where democratization translates to power, the power to learn and keep learning. By embracing our ever-evolving digital society and enhancing new platforms, developments, and methodology with a creative, strategic approach driven by a passion for teaching, it is possible to enhance the higher education experience. As a result, universities, colleges, and training providers will nurture future creative, innovative, and forward-thinking individuals that go on to achieve greater things for wider society. So more or less, you can see the importance of education in the digital society now. So the article talk about a different aspect, about the inclusiveness, about the creativity, the collaboration. But ultimately, the end of the day is to encourage the participants and the citizens. They need to be ongoing to keep on learning as well, and also providing the opportunity to use the creativity and the innovation, and then to have greater things to contribute to the society. So that is a part of education. Okay, well, actually, I said my time is already coming up to 3 o'clock, so I need to move on a little bit. I may have to skip some part of the IEEE things. Okay, anyway, ethics. So this one is again, very important topic. What is ethics? Ethics refer to the set of rules that describe the acceptable conduct in a society. Ethics serves as a guide to moral daily living and helps us judge whether our behaviors can be justified. So it's really refers something to your decision you're making, your behaviors, what you do. It's very important, and also whether it is acceptable or not. So ethics refers to the society's sense of the right ways of living our daily lives. It does this by establishing the rules, principles, and values on which we can base our conduct. The concept most directly associated with ethics are truth, honesty, fairness, and equity. Now, I'm not really going into the religious aspect of it, but ultimately you can see, your country, you have your faith, and also very important. And this is the thing that really what we are foundations on: truth, honesty, fairness, and equity. So while ethics is a societal concern, it is critically important to the professions that serve the society. So because professionals such as physicians, attorneys, engineers, okay, I believe most of you are in the technical field, you are also related to technology and engineering, and property and facility management provide services that affect our welfare. You develop professional codes of ethics to establish professional standards for behavior. So I don't know how the time goes, but this is going to be something I'm going to talk about from IEEE Code of Ethics point of view. So examples of this standard is, say, for example, if an attorney or the physicians maintaining the client-patient's confidentiality. Same thing, for me as a lecturer, I cannot make use of my position. Then I can expect, well, student to pay me so that I can give them better grade, or maybe I can provide a favorism because I like somebody, so therefore I can close my eye to the result. So that is not ethical. It's obviously, isn't it? So same thing applies to every part of whatever you're doing. An accountant, well, not using the client information for personal gain. So in other words, well, if you are in something called inside trading, obviously it's a criminal offense as well. So you cannot make use of for benefit. And even for IEEE ourselves, well, it's very important. We are a non-profit organization. So in other words, well, the money, well, being received, that definitely cannot be used, well, to benefit the individuals or even for the members as well. Although it can be used for member services, but it's not going to, well, put the money in their pocket. So there's another website, another article talking about why do we need ethics. So this one was published, well, in 2017, the pathways to principle-based decision-making. So I'm not going through the whole article in here, but I'm quoting the examples. And maybe I just ask you to think about it. What will be your answer? Ethics is all about the choices we make. We constantly face choices that affect the quality of our lives. We are aware that the choices that we make have consequences both for ourselves and others. We are aware of the responsibility we have for our actions. Now, one of the things I know that we are in the academic environment, since you're a student, and especially some of you are research students, you write papers. Now, my talk today actually didn't touch on the plagiarism and all those things, but that is a very important ethical principle, and we look at it very seriously. But unfortunately, we don't have enough time to cover that, but I will just put it forward to you. But let's take a look at this example, and then maybe you think about how will you handle it. Let's assume you have discovered through a reliable third party that your best friend is cheating on his wife. Your wife asks whether you know anything about it after seeing your friend with another woman in a restaurant. So there are three choices given to you. You confide in her that the cheating is going on. Now, in here, well, the assumption in this particular case study is you heard from a reliable third party. Now, you have not seen, okay, but you are based on the reliable third party. So you know the information that your best friend is cheating. So now your friend, your wife met him with another lady. Then I ask you, what's going on? Well, then you can tell her that, oh, yes, the cheating is going on, or maybe deny you know anything about it. Or maybe tell her, well, your friend hasn't said anything to you about it, okay? So it's quite interesting. So you think about what would be your answer, okay? So really, in a way, you would take a look from the honesty point of view. So honesty requires, well, that a reliable third party, well, inform you of the cheating. So really, you just confine to her, I mean, well, that is exactly what happened. That's honesty. But on the other hand, well, you may think it's the best way that you have no direct knowledge of the cheating, which is technically correct. Okay, so you're correct, but you could be lie by omission because, well, you try to overlook it. You try to omit it. Or maybe there's another thing you may do, but deny you know anything about it as an outgoing lie, because you say that, okay, I don't know anything about it, because you've never seen him cheating in person. You only heard it from another person. But this could be a lie, well, by commission. So really, these two things, it could be a sin of omission, or maybe a sin of commission. Omission is you're closing your eye. Commission is really you become part of it. You try to deny it and cover it up. So your primary responsibility is truth. So, but then again, you may try to rationalize yourself, saying that, okay, there's nothing wrong because you're loyal to your friend. But in general, the loyalty should be secondary compared to honesty. So one could rationalize we're doing something wrong or failing to act out in the right way just because out of loyalty to another party. Okay, this is a very interesting concept, isn't it? So which is really more what is more important as far as the ethical decision is concerned. Okay. Okay, there's one question, okay, on the chat. Okay, there are two questions. Okay, let me come back to this later on because, well, I don't want to disrupt it because it's asking me about the digital society, but I confess I don't have answer to everything. But anyway, let's carry on this one part first. Okay, I see how my time goes. I'm already 3 o'clock already. So ethics is about characters. which the sum of the qualities that defines a person. These qualities include a person's intellect, thoughts, ideas, motive, intentions, temperament, judgment, behavior, imagination, perception, emotions, loves, and hate. So in a virtual ethics, so the character is all about, well, a well-intentioned people with the good characters will do. So really sum up two things, well, who you are and what you stand for. So that will be leading to your ethical decision. Now, my time is, I've already come to 1 hour. So Nia, how do you want me to go about it? I may have a more than half an hour things out, so I don't think I'm going to cover all, but because some of those I have shared before. So how many minutes more you want me to share, and then we take on some question and answer?
Actually, already past 1 hour, and we still have 3 minutes left. So how many slides do you have?
I've got a fair bit of slides, but I'm going to skip all those from IEEE education. Okay. I can talk a little bit about the ethics, and then I finish off. And then you want me to answer some questions before we close. So exactly what time you want to close? 3:30 or 2:30 the time?
Yes, 2:30. I think. Yes.
Okay, so how about I just go on for another 5 to 10 minutes or so, and then I take another 10 or 15
minutes. We will have around 15 minutes for Q&A.
Okay, all right. So I try to finish another 10 minutes. I'll see how it goes on there. Okay, all right, let's come back to the other part of the talk now. So far I have shared with you, well, how I find some information and some of my sharing of my personal opinion about education, ethics, and digital society. And I've used the information on the internet. And as I said, you can even search those information for yourself and find out. But now I would like to share in terms of the role of IEEE in this field aspect. IEEE and education. Well, why I talk about education? Because I wear my hat as the education activities committees chair for Region 10. So we have been doing a lot of activities. Well, and also we want to promote the use of the resources. So some of these slides, just let me sharing with you what is available from IEEE from the educational resources point of view. But I would like to highlight, well, some of our future directions looking into the lifelong learning and continued education. So I'm going to skip this part. Well, I'm assuming that you can find out, well, for yourself what IEEE is all about if you're not yet a member. If you're a member, I say congratulations and thank you very much. You are part of it. That we are going to achieve the objective of mission and visions for IEEE, advancing technology for the benefit of humanity. So we also have our plans for 2020 to 2025. Well, I always like to share this because I was part of the committee that developed this plan. Well, in 2019, well, under the directorship of ex-president Jim Jeffrey. So the goals of IEEE will include, well, to drive the global innovations through the broad collaboration and sharing of knowledge, enhance the public understanding of engineering and technology, be a trusted source of educational resources and products, and to provide opportunities for career and professional development, and also, well, inspire a worldwide audience by building the communities, well, with the advanced, the technical interest, to inform the public policy and expand knowledge, etc., etc. So I'm really glad to see that you are interested, you are here, that you are part of this community. And I've also already said, well, actually our asset is within our document. We have 5 million documents, well, within our expository. You can see how the growth of the number over the years as well in the past 20 years, and then well, how the number of the titles have been grown, the number of conferences have grown, and also the downloads, etc. Well, in our 2019 annual report, you can see the figures. Well, based on our Explore, we have over 5 million documents have been collected, and out of these, around 3.6 million are the conference proceedings. And again, I congratulate and thank you, Indonesia section, in doing your part of organizing a lot of successful conferences well in your area. And also, you got a journals as well. We got 1.279 journals at the end of last year, and they've been keep on growing. So this made up, well, maybe around 25% or so, well, within our Explore. And also we have the magazine and also the standard. Standards in particular important, especially dealing with the industry. So again, there's another thing we can talk about that later on. Education is important because that's one of these goals from UN. Well, one of the 17 goals for the Sustainable Development Goals is quality education. So the goal is to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. So I hope you observe, well, the use of the term lifelong learning is being highlighted as well. And also it needs to be inclusive. Well, if you remember one of the slides, well, the first slide on our last article on the role of higher education in digital society is to promote inclusiveness, okay, and also equitable as well. Everyone can access the information. IEEE point of view that we have been involved with the latest industrial revolution 4.0. Right now it's a cyber physical system. And then you can see the number of the articles, well, in our Explore are related to all these different topics and areas. So IEEE Education Activities Board will really aim to promote the collaboration, well, to service across all the spectrum within IEEE, not only within our Education Activities Board, also the MGA, Membership and Geographic Activities Board, Technical Activities Board, IEEE Standard Board, IEEE USA and Publication Board, etc. So we aim to different focus, well, like from the pre-university, university to continuing education. One of the key, well, source of information is available through the ILN, the IEEE Learning Network, which has been launched, well, since last year. And it's being supported by all the different organizational units within IEEE. We also have, well, in response to the COVID-19 pandemic challenge, well, IEEE also responds to a lot of the online materials, well, through the webinars, and in particular, we have, under the IEEE spectrum, we got the COVID-19 resource hub as well. And well, e-learning is another area. And in terms of the different topics, okay, well, they are under the IEEE Explore. And also see that we try to aim, try to make it more accessible to people by providing discount as well. Well, for the people coming in from the non-English speaking background, well, we also have the resources for the English for technical professional. It is not like the IELTS or TOEFL, those kind of assessment, but rather, well, it's some kind of teaching modules and then just enable you to working, use of the English in a technical professional environments. So we also, well, have launching to enhance, well, to help the teachers with the teachers.ieee.org hub. This is the collaboration between the Education Activities Board and the IEEE Education Society. We also have the pre-university, well, STEM portals. They are coming soon. We also, well, in the university level, we have the EPIC, stand for Engineering Projects in the Community Service. And also another major development this year is, well, we have the Try Engineering, which has been a portal providing the resources to encourage the use of the STEM in the pre-university level, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But we, in cooperation with Google, we have made use of the Google Translate to provide the translation. And again, I'm really pleased to say that Nia is part of the team helping out to refine the translation, well, on the information on the website. And we also launched, well, the IEEE project Reaching Locals. Well, because in IEEE we have 10 regions, and region 8, 9, and 10, well, you have a lot of the countries are using languages, not English as the mother tongue. So in particular, in region 10, well, we have countries like in yours in Indonesia, you have Bahasa Indonesian, and then in India, you have, my understanding is 22 local languages. Even in Chinese, we have people using Mandarin, you have people using Cantonese, etc. So I would like to congratulate Indonesia section is one of the leading examples, well, in running a lot of webinars in the local languages, and it has been recognized with a certificate and also some financial award to support your section. So again, well, you should be proud of yourself in the involvement and the development of all these projects. But now coming to the lifelong learning. So IEEE, well, the ad hoc committee on the lifelong learning and continuing education, well, have agreed on the importance of the continuing education. So it sees that you need to have a shared organizational visions and plan. So importance of the collaboration to deliver the educational offering. So this is the step they have taken in place. Well, they first of all identify some of those areas they think that is going to be the focus and also the main interest of the audience and the participants. The three areas are the AI, Internet of Things, and the smart grid. Okay, so they have started the things called the learner's journey. So this is not like the same you have in any university, well, course, well, and then they work out the curriculum, you work out the materials, well, the course, textbook, examination, etc. Far from that, but rather we are making use of all the resources and the information we have internally. And then you can see, well, in here, there's really a collaboration and integration using our existing content. And some of the things that you have already seen, well, through the journals, conference proceedings, e-learning modules, ILN. We also have the webinars, distinguished lecturers, etc. So the idea is to integrate all these materials and helping the learners. So to achieve the objectives or the learning objectives on the right-hand side, we have our existing materials. So we just simply try to put into a much more systematic, well, together with some of the new content that's being developed currently, like the introduction to the academic, some videos itself, some PowerPoint system, some new content. So you can see it is not just simply giving another qualification, another certificate, and then another examination. It's far from that, but rather we would like, well, the participant to embark, well, on an ongoing lifelong learning journey. So this is an example how it's going to be organized. So there are some IEEE helping out with the marketing, editorial assistants, and also the technical editorial assistants. So each one of these, there are some editor-in-chief. Well, 3 editor-in-chief have been nominated, but looking at these 3 areas, IoT, AI, and also the smart grid. And then they will appoint, well, the different editorial subdomain, and then the editorial board to work on the materials, and then to work on this overall journey. So as I mentioned, well, if you haven't heard it before, so now you hear from me. So just keep your eye open. This is going to come in 2021 on this free IEEE Academy on the smart grid, AI, and also Internet of Things. On the ethics itself, well, mainly we have something called the Code of Ethics, which you have seen earlier on. Now, I'm not going to spend time to look through all these things now. So I would encourage you, if you are members, actually you should, and you must also have a good look at it and understand what we expect our members to perform and behavior as according to the Code of Ethics. And then, well, but also sometimes people are also not aware that we also have a committee called the Ethics and Members Conduct Committee. So this one, we aim to foster the awareness of the ethical issues and also the promotion of this ethical behavior, and also that we would expect them to be respected, to uphold the standard. So the vision is that a world in which engineers and the scientists are respected for the exemplary, ethical, behaviors, and the EMCC recognizes the major drive in this. So the mission is to advise the board of directors and also promote the behaviors among the field interest. Now note that they are not the judges. They are not really, receive the complaint, etc. No, far from that. They really limit themselves to just simply advising the advisor and doing the promotion part. So you take a look at the one I highlight. Neither, this committee or the members are solicit or invite the complaint. So then they're not dealing with the complaints, nor shall they provide any advice to the individual. So they keep it from the arm length as well. But nevertheless, the activities they have is to promotion. So the main 2 promotion are the student ethics competition and also the recommendation for the award. Okay, this is something I haven't seen been actively promoted in our region. So maybe I hope that this is going to happen. So they have the student competition on the ethics. So mainly what they do is really quite similar to what you have seen in the earlier case, in the earlier example. Just simply have a case study and then expect the participant or the competitors to really analyze it and based on our IEEE Code of Ethics, so they can provide some kind of a models so you can answer all these ethical questions. So there are this ethics competition. Now I'm not really going through all this in detail now. So as you can see that actually you can search online, you can find out this information. We have I think 22 pages for these requirements. And then also explain about the topics. As you can see, the topics related to public safety and welfare, conflict of interest, engineering practice, research ethics, etc. So it goes some case study. So maybe you'll be interested to know there's some prizes involved and also the funding provided from the committee. Okay. So in terms of the award, so again, we try to recognize the person or the organization they have demonstrated to have this exemplary behavior practice, and also the pervasive efficacy or the promotion of ethical behavior and practices. So this is a award to be considered by IEEE. So eligibility, administration, etc. Okay, I'm not going through all this in detail. My time actually is up for the 3:15 already. So the last part actually I meant to talk about is the ethics for the machine. Okay, I have shared on this topic for a couple of times in the past already. We have come to the point that we expect our machine, AI, autonomous machine, is going to be part of the society. Well, we have seen early on, we do expect, well, as an individual, a human being, some ethical character from the person. So now if we come to the autonomous machine, robots, driverless car, how do we expect them to behave ethically? Say, for example, to demonstrate, well, equity, there shouldn't be any bias. And then also, when you come to the point that I think one of the typical example, if you are a driverless car, well, come to the junction, well, are you going to lock down? Well, you cannot stop. Are you going to lock down the pedestrian who is going to crossing the road? Or maybe you just turn it sideways and then lock off another bunch of school kids along the way. Similarly, actually, there are some ethical, well, questions being asked, well, in the COVID-19 situation. When the medical resources are limited, so you got two patients in front of you. Well, one is older patients, and the other one's younger patients. So the question is, well, who should deserve to have the use of the medical resources to save his or her life? So a lot of people may think that, oh, okay, maybe the young person, because the young person has a much longer, and then the old person has been lived here long enough already. But if you say that if the old person, you say, well, is someone that have made a lot of major contributions, he's an inventor, he's something like Einstein, so will you save him? So those are the simple questions. Well, in the medical field, they have to make a decision. So that's why, well, the government actually try very hard to stop, well, the cases of COVID-19 because, well, they're afraid that the medical system will break down because they cannot, well, help everyone. Then they need to make some kind of ethical decision like that. But if we put that, well, to the machine and the robot itself, how do we expect the autonomous system? Well, you have the driverless car. Well, you have the autonomous robot running around, well, being a guard dog, well, who can shoot people. Well, how do you put into the decision inside that? So this is where IEEE have embarked on another part called the ethics in action. So really, you're talking relating to, well, how ethics can be put into the autonomous and the intelligent system. Now, due to time constraint, I'm not going to talk about this anymore now. I would expect you can really take a look at this, search it up. And more importantly, well, IEEE, well, have produced those publication, but also we have worked on the standard as well. The standard already been made available from the Standard Association. There are a lot of the standard taking into account of the social and the technical issues and principles, and then it'll come up to a lot of these, a couple of these standards. But this particular document, again, is freely available on IEEE's website. You take a look at that. So there are a lot of standards, well, already established, and also looking at technical standard and also the social technical standard as well. But also more important concept in time to come is, would it be possible to come up with some kind of the certification program for the autonomous system that you can say that, okay, well, we say that now it meets the standard, you're able to demonstrate the ethical behavior as accepted by the human society. So it'll be quite interesting because it's just like the quality framework. Well, nowadays we have people being employed as quality assurance, and then you can go around and check the quality standard. Well, can we do something similar in time to come to ensure all these autonomous and the ethical autonomous intelligence system are following this ethical principle? So that's another question. And I've also mentioned it's not only limited to IEEE, even as well from the government point of view, in Australian government, we also have, well, this ethics, AI ethics framework has been developed as well. We're looking at different principles. We're looking at the well-being of the human societies and also the environment. Looking at it should be human-centered, it should be fairness, it should be protecting the privacy and the security. It should be reliable and safe, it should be transparent and explainable, it should be contestable, it could be accountable. So again, I'm sorry that I did not really have time to cover this lot. But nevertheless, I'm going to finish off now. I'm already coming to 2:20 already. So I think you can safely agree with me that we have entered a new era of digital society because we have all this advanced technology, and also we have changing for the societal landscape. I have shared the two topics on the education and ethics. So I believe they're very important because for the education is equipping, well, for the next generation and also for the citizen, well, in the new society. Ethics is the basic principle that make things work. And I can assure you that if you have a technology without the ethics, and I think it's going to be a very chaotic and very sorry state because everyone will be fighting for themselves. So they are the foundation because they form the trust, the honesty and truth. And because not only just between the human being, it should be between the association, between the nations is very important. And also as well, even as a machine itself. And IEEE is a well-leading, looking into that. So IEEE has a major part to play. Well, we provide the educational services and products. And also we are the developers, well, of the ethical standards for the autonomous intelligence system. And I repeat to say that, well, members of IEEE, well, we are all expected to abide with the code of ethics, okay? Yes, well, something to do with the characters, who we are, and what we do. Well, I finish off with this. You may have heard this code called Don't Be Evil. This was all started by Google before, although they dropped it later on. So he really go back to the basic fundamental principle. Well, okay, we are able to do a lot of things, but we have to realize that we must remember the responsibility that the decision we make will affect not only ourselves, but people around us and affect the society. So the question is, well, if you advise don't do evil, my question put forward to you is, will you? Okay, thank you very much for your attention. I'm really sorry that I run over time, and I really encourage that we all put hand in hand together. But let's make a better tomorrow through education and ethics. Okay. Okay. So Nia, if you don't mind, can I
thank you very much, Prof. Thanks for your great talks. Oh, we have 10 minutes left.
Okay. So with 10 minutes,
okay.
Can I go for question one by one?
We still have 10 minutes.
Okay. Now I'm going for question one by one now. I see a couple of questions, 6 questions.
Yes.
Okay. As I said, I'm not able to answer questions. All right. I'll go for the first one. Okay. You want me to do it? I can read it.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. The first one asks is.
Oh, Mas Grafel. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. The first one, the question is relate to your presentation about high opportunity to share any information. I read an article about the pancake people. They read and share much information without depth. What is your opinion about it from an ethical point of view? What's the dangers to society? Okay, it's a very interesting question. The people sharing without thinking about it. Now, I think ultimately, well, apart from the one who share it, you go back to the responsibility of everyone. Well, you yourself, are you going to accept it or not? Okay, so no doubt that the people can bring you food that you do not like. It's up to you that you want to take it or not. Okay, so you have your own ethical principle to, and then you decided, well, I myself will not share it if I don't believe it is correct. But then again, well, if I share it, well, without knowing that actually I'm part of it as well. Okay, so the second one. So how do we reach a digital society when there is a problem, unequal access to technology? Okay, so where is it? Yeah, how come the question disappear? Okay. Okay, when there's a problem, unequal access to technology, should we enhance the technology accessibility, or we can still develop digital social with different level of technology accessibility? It's a good question. It's a very interesting one as well about the accessibility. So of course, well, even right now, actually, we are also facing some issue in terms of the accessibility of information on the internet and the media. And I believe, well, although I know that now everyone in the whole world is looking at the result of the US election, because to a certain extent, well, they might have effect all over the world. So you have a two school of thoughts. Well, once I make it quite clear that even though that I myself personally have a favor for one of the candidates, but I'm not going to say it. But I do see that from the two camps, well, there are issues involved, that whereby some of the information that they're not released by the media, or maybe even in social media, well, they purposely put on something, well, with some news, they put on something, well, with their own opinion, and then they block it because of independent fact checkers. So the question is, well, are they doing it fairly or not? So I do agree with you, the accessibility is a major issue. As a matter of fact, this is how some of the people in power, they can manipulate, well, the result because of using this. I do not have the answer to how are we going to control this. But and I would say the internet, when they first started, it was supposed to be with the good intention. But then again, you can see things have changed because of the money involved. Okay, so there people can manipulate the figures. Well, even if you take a look at the reviews. Well, in the past, sometimes we rely on reviews to decide should we go to eat in a restaurant. But now people can pay for people, to write the review. So it's being distorted. So ultimately, again, come back to the individuals. Well, I would say that I cannot, expect everyone to do fairly, but at least I myself have to do the right thing. Okay, second question. I want to ask about ethics in technical development. In case that autonomous driving cars hit someone, who will be responsible for this case, the developer system? Actually, I've been asking this question all the time as well. I've been asking this question all the time, who will be responsible? But I think at this moment of time, if I take autonomous car as an example, there are different levels, okay? So there are different levels. So you could have a very low level of autonomous, like the cruise control is one typical example. But I think at this moment of time, it's still the one behind the wheel is still going to be responsible. But nevertheless, I would say that we really have to leave it to the court to decide. Because even if I take a look at the U.S. election, right now, one of the arguments, are the voting machines accurate or not? Or are they being hacked? Are there any backdoor? So again, that's another question we do not know really. So I would have no answer to that. So really, I myself have asked the exact question you have asked before as well. Another question. In the context of the COVID-19 outbreak, we are having, in the past 9 months, e-learning is a solution and evaluate students using online protocol. Well, what's the opinion about online? Does it break our privacy? As a matter of fact, in my university, there has been some issue and concern from my colleagues in terms of online assessment. Well, as a matter of fact, there was a case, actually, I know it firsthand, that some of the students can post those questions online. People can pay for the answer as well because of how they, and then they themselves share with another channel, with another group of the answers. So how my colleagues come to know it? Because they find out that, actually got the same wrong answer from everyone. They come back to the exact reason why we need to promote ethics among the students. Because if they themselves are not working on the ethical principle. So really, I appreciate so much, Professor Wisnu, to allow me to talk on this topic. Really, I think it's utmost important for us. If we are going to be a teacher, we need to reinforce this among the students. And I would say, does it break the privacy? It all depends on what you think. Depends on the privacy you're referring to. Of course, there's some limitation on the privacy on this part. Okay, let me look at another question. I know another 3 minutes coming up. Sometimes the application that is used by teenager or learner is something that we sort of don't know about. It is because they know more than us. Yes, I agree. I have to admit that, actually, I use text messaging from my daughter. Okay, then who will teach them the ethics? Is the app developer's responsibility? Good question. You come back to the question is on responsibility. If you ask me, frankly, without the technology, without the time of Europe, I can tell you I'm 65 years old this year. So when I was young, I don't have any computer. Where do I learn my ethics? I learn my ethics from my parents. I learn my ethics from my family. I learn from my own tradition, from my culture, from my faith. Okay, you have your faith, and I have my religion's belief as well. And I think those are the areas whereby a lot of ethics have been instilled and train the kids. And I believe that don't rely on the technology, but rely on the culture, rely on the background. And you yourself have set as an example. Because of the kids will learn from you much more than learning from technology. That's how I hope I can put it this way. Same thing applies to the teachers as well, okay? So hello, Lance Fung, can a student from natural science join IEEE? I believe you can, okay? IEEE, the membership is as long as your university is having, the course of interest, the courses within the interest of IEEE, you're more than welcome. So just talk to Professor Wisnu and Leah. She's more than happy to help you. And I would like to welcome you to be a part of our family as well. Okay, last question. Social distance between students and teachers are being shortened due to COVID-19. And technology replaced the distance to virtual teaching. Can technologies underpin education for sustainable development to overcome the mismatch between the capability of student and the expectation of the educational system? Now, I think personally, I see that your question is in here is on the expectations on the educational system. Then maybe I need to put back to you that what do you think is the expectation on the educational system? Is it just because for them to pass the examination? Is it just because, well, for them, well, to demonstrate that, well, they have this certain grade? I believe that, well, the education system are the student, well, have the desire and have the ability to have ongoing learning and education. That is much more important. So no doubt that having this online and it's being enforced upon us just like another black swan. It's not really what we want. We all agree that, I mean, just like in IEEE operation, we have been doing traditional conferences over, well, I don't know how many years now. But this year, suddenly, everybody have to go on to online conferences. Although we do expect in time to come, maybe we gradually go into some kind of a hybrid. But in time to come, we do expect this free form is going to be with us. That is the traditional face-to-face. We have the hybrid, and we also have the online as well. But things are changing. So I would say that, well, same thing applies to the teaching. If I use Australian University, well, we ourselves have been actually using online learning for a long time because we have campuses. Well, from our university point of view, we have campuses in Dubai, we have campuses in Malaysia, we have a campus in Singapore. Well, we have been doing online for a long time already. So for me, well, during the time when I was still teaching, I have to record all my lectures. I have been dealing with them with my learning management system. So there's nothing wrong with it. Okay, so I would say that yes, we have some limitation, but then again, well, we can always work on something better. I would encourage you to take a look at the resources we have in IEEE, well, on the COVID-19, well, on teaching the faculty members how you handle this. Okay, time is up, so I better stop talking, otherwise I never end. Okay, may I pass it back to you now? I think I answered all the open questions now. Nia, all yours, Professor Nish.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, since time is over and because we have to move to another meeting, Prof. Lance, right? In and meetings. So, okay. So thank you participants for your participations and questions and joining in these sessions. Please give applause to Prof. Lance.
Thank you. Terima kasih.
Okay, can we have a group photo sessions, Mas Hamid?
I tried to with it.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, and smile. Okay, once more. 1, 2, 3, and smile. Okay.
Thank you, Prof. Lance Fung. Actually, I want to discuss after maybe because we still have some collaboration, isn't it? Because actually I teach about the ethic in our faculty. So it's we call there is a dark side of technology, but I think we will discuss and the next discussion maybe because the time actually you are very busy, but you still have time to ask, and it's very we are very respect to you and thank you for your support, Prof. Let's go.
It's truly my pleasure, my honor.
Prof. Lance, some participants ask your presentation file. It is possible.
You have to give me some kind of a Dropbox link because, as I said, it's pretty big, so I can't send by email. So if you give me a link to the Dropbox, okay, I'm going to I can just make it up and send it to you. No problem.
All right. Okay. Maybe Mas Robi, could you please share Dropbox links for an email? Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Okay, see you.
Thank you.
See you again soon.
Yes, see you again. Have now. Okay, bye bye.
Another channel.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.